Yeshua was a rugged, hard-working Nazarene. And if you know history, the Nazarenes were the least of these in the Israeli Jewish community. So by birth, he was humbled. He was a carpenter who worked with his hands. And when it was time for him to begin his 3-year journey to the cross, he chose fishermen, a tax collector. The disciples that he chose, when you research it, if you choose, were not the ones that were the elders at the church. And let me be clear, it's that he chose the ones that people wouldn't have expected him to choose, because he weighs us by our heart posture. On the day of his death, was mocked, his beard pulled from his face, scourged, punched, slapped, humiliated, beaten, but he did not break. Whipped, one lash from death, and then made to carry on his back. And we're talking about the Roman Empire, that a Roman guard whipped him one lash from death. His beard's pulled from his face. He's beaten black and blue. They put a crown of thorns into his head. It's not a crown that's pretty. It's digging into his skull. He's in excruciating pain. And after all of this is done, and he's publicly whipped in front of a crowd of people, this man who was given blind their sight, paralyzed people the ability to walk, risen others from the dead, commanded demons, legions of them, to leave, spared a prostitute. Now think about that. A prostitute, really? She was a child if you look at the history. Prostitution is the oldest trade that exists. And while I'm certainly not an advocate for that ever, I'm an advocate of survivors, quite the opposite. What would you do to survive that many thousands of years ago when women had no voice? Think about it. From being stoned to death by people that probably went to synagogue. That's a different story for a different day. He was so relatable, so earthy, so humble. And this man, Yeshua, in front of a roaring crowd of angry people, whipped with one lash of his life, is then given a cross. Now, I'm not saying it's a fancy little picture that we would see. It was a huge wooden beam, unfinished, raw, on his back, and made him walk to his own death by carrying it. He had most likely no skin left on his back. Splinters digging into his body, and did this for us. And then if that wasn't bad enough, with his skull in excruciating pain, unrecognizable, probably pretty skinless, bloodied, splintered, humiliated, mocked, is then laid out on this cross and has nails dug into his hands, most likely wrists. Have you ever seen a train nail? They're huge and they're thick. Think of something like that being driven into your hands and your feet, and then hung up for everyone to watch, suffocating with the weight of his body, unable to pull himself up to take breaths. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Into your hands I commit my spirit. And he released his spirit back to his Father, and an earthquake took place, and darkness covered the land.